Hello everyone, I'm Thanh from Miss Sweden University. Today I would like to present our paper entitled Separate Sound into Short-Time Fourier Transform Frame to Eliminate Sound Noise Frame in Sound Classification. Sound already contains acoustic noise and background noise that affects the accuracy of the sound classification system. Therefore, suppression of noise in the sound can improve the robustness of the sound classification model. This paper investigated a sound separation technique that separates the input sound into many overlapped content short-time Fourier transform frames. These separated frames are saved as images and then labeled manually as clean noise frame, which is then fed into transfer learning CNN for the classification task. The pre-trained CNNs that learn from the frame become robust against the noise. The outline of our presentation are shown here. Sound signals are all around us. As such, sound classification has recently gained much attention because it had enormous potential for application in areas such as IoT, smart cities, healthcare system, surveillance system to detect crime. For example, a heart sound monitoring system can help to detect anomaly heart sound. A machine phone detection system can help to detect damage or abnormal functioning in machinery to avoid breakdowns of the machine and reduce operating costs. Recently, researchers have paid attention to the field of sound classification. The sound usually contains silent, echo, and noise. This leads to difficulty in applying the state-of-the-art CNN for sound classification. We hypothesize that if we can locate and discuss the redundant parts such as silent, echo, and noise of the sound, the accuracy of the sound classification system will increase. Our proposed methods include two main phases. First, separate sound into STFT frame. Secondly, label the frame as clean or noise. In order to separate the sound into numerous STFT frames, we define a window frame with a fixed length and a sliding step. Then we slide the window frame over the sound signal and calculate the STFT for each position of the sound. We use a Hamming window with a window length of 256 to compute STFT. We chose this STFT configuration so that the STFT frame size would be 224 by 224 pixels and be adaptive to popular CNNs such as VCC16 or VCC19. We chose the window frame length of 0.5 seconds as the sliding window, and we chose the sliding step of 0.1 seconds. This resulted in an 80% overlap in content between the obtained frames. Therefore, an input sound was separated at numerous overlap content STFT frames. This helps the CNN architecture to avoid overfitting when classifying the frame, as the architecture can learn variance and auto-regression to predict the current frame based on past observations. Therefore, type of frame may appear in the sound, including silent, clean, noise, and echo. For example, we analyze a slumming sound because the sound contains 4 types of frame, as shown in the figure. Figure A visualize the amplitude of the sound among the time axis. Figure B show the AWPS of the sound. When the window frame slides along the time axis of the sound, the components of the sound can be located by listening to the sound and monitoring it on the AWPS. Figure C shows 4 types of frames: silent, noise, clean, echo. The silent part contains no sound or a tiny sound from the beginning of the sound file. The noise part is unwanted sound. For example, the sound of the wind interacting with the microphone, the electrical noise, and so on, which is not an event sound. The clean part, the slam event, captures the clearest sound with a high energy of representation, reflected by the pickup, the AWPS, the blue signal here. For each position of the window frame, the normalized sound part were collected into the frame and then converted into an STFT spectrum called the STFT frame, which is shown in figure D. All generated STFT frames were labeled as silent, clean, noise, and echo based on frame label in figure C. Afterwards, the silent, noise, and echo frame are gathered into an additional noise class. In this research, we use the FSD noisy 18K dataset. There are 20 subclasses in this dataset that are acoustic guitar, bass guitar, clapping, coil, cracks, DC, engine, fart, fire, and so on. Our proposed method is based on separating the input audio into STFT frame, which are then manually labeled into clean or noise. The first phase is audio separation and labeling STFT frame. The frames are used to change pre-chain network as shown in chaining phase of the figure above. In the prediction phase, when an unknown sound input into the system, it will be automatically separated at many STFT frames. The frame will go through the chain classifier to classify into 12 classes, and all the noise frame will be absorbed in the noise class. The classification task is to show that the classification accuracy will increase after pre-processing the dataset using our separation methods. We use chain for learning CNNs to classify frames of sounds. STFT frame obtained from our proposed methods were divided into 70% for training and 30% for testing, which are different pre-chain networks such as VCC16, VCC19, GoogleNet, DuckNet, EfficientNet, and ShuffleNet to select the networks that can give us the best classification accuracy. The overall classification accuracy of frame reached the best accuracy of 94.14% using VCC19 as shown in the table. The confusion magic classified frame of 20 sound classes and 1 noise class. Any frames that do not belong to any of the 20 sound event classes were classified into the noise class. To demonstrate the robust need against noise when classifying sound of our proposed system, we have converted each sound in the dataset into only one STFT image as a conventional approach and use the same pre-chain network with the same configuration for chaining the STFT images. To convert each sound into one STFT frame and save it as an image, we configure the parameter as follows here. As a result, we converted 896 STFT images from the sound folder with 896 sounds in 20 classes. Approximately 70% was used for training, 30% for testing. This column of the table shows the comparison results when we use the conventional methods with VCC19 as a classifier. The accuracy reached 55.43%, much lower than our proposed methods that reached 94.14%. In summary, we propose a sound separation technique for pre-processing the sound dataset to improve the robustness of the sound classification system. We separated the sound into numerous STFT frames. The separated frame of the sound were labeled as clean. The sound event or noise includes silent, echo, and noise. The clean frame keeps the original sound level label, whereas the noise frame are associated with the newly created noise class. To prove the robustness of our proposed methods, we change pre-chain CNNs to classify the separated STFT frames. VCC19 showed the best accuracy among the 6 chosen pre-chain network, reaching 94.14% when classifying 20 classes of sound event and 1 class of general noise. To demonstrate the effect of the proposed method, we use the same pre-chain CNN as for the conventional method of converting each sound into one STFT frame. The results show that converting each sound into only one STFT frame and classifying using VCC19 reached 55.40%, which is much lower than our proposed method that reached 94.14% for the classification task. On the other hand, the separation of the sound into many STFT frames improves model performance by increasing variability in the data and consequently by learning from it. Besides, this method can be used as a method for data augmentation that would have classified the small data set. Thank you for your attention. If you need any information, feel free to contact us.